Welcome to Constructech TV. On today's tech update, I'm going to tell you about the top 5 tech trends. This includes augmented reality, self-driving equipment, smart homes, 3D printing, and software integration. First up, let's talk about augmented reality. When will it take off? If you ask tech companies and analysts, the answer is actually this year. Trimble and Microsoft have announced a partnership with the University of Cambridge. This objective is to advance mixed reality using Microsoft HoloLens. Now think about that. There are some trials using the device in inspection of buildings and bridges that are underway right now. But this is just the beginning. Some of you might recall the technology was on display at Autodesk University this past fall. Autodesk demonstrated sensors, robotics, and AR. So we see many of the technology players are making a move into the space. But when will it take off in your construction business? That really is the million-dollar question. We're beginning to see these initiatives demonstrate the value in construction, but only time will tell for your company and the industry overall. Which brings us to our next development, self-driving equipment. Last fall, Volvo demonstrated a self-driving truck in an underground mine. Sensors monitor its surrounding to avoid fixed and moving obstacles. It also uses a system to gather all this data about route and fuel consumption. This truck is part of a development project, and it is currently being tested in real-time operation. Volvo isn't alone either. Many manufacturers are developing intelligent machine control. Komatsu also offers an autonomous haulage vehicle. This unmanned equipment is designed to improve productivity at mines. Even a report from Future Market Insights predicts the smart mining market will rise as much as 12%. So that indicates an even bigger trend is currently emerging. So robotics and automated machinery will revolutionize job site tasks. So make no mistake, there are still a number of hurdles that need to be overcome, and the industry needs to address safety and even cost concerns. But the opportunities still far outweigh all of the challenges that we're talking about, which is why we see an increase coming in the very near future. So next, let's talk about smart homes that are certainly on the rise right now. As we see Apple, Google, and Amazon taking and making a stake in the market. But like any fast emerging industry, there are many roadblocks. Perhaps the biggest is the technological fragmentation. There are still too many products and standards for the home. For many home builders, this creates a challenge. It becomes tough to determine which whole house platform to use. Despite these hurdles, builders are actually making smart home technologies a staple in all of our homes, which is really exciting. And this goes beyond just connected lights, security, and entertainment systems. As one example, Brookfield Residential is partnering with Amazon Alexa. Brookfield is featuring voice-enabled home automation leveraging artificial intelligence. Even Kettle & Oak is a startup builder taking advantage of connected home technology as well. This husband and wife team has built as many as 50 smart homes, and this duo also has plans to build its first smart building by 2018. Smart structures are certainly on the rise, and builders are delivering smart home solutions. 3D printing. I'm sure you've heard of that. But have you ever heard of macro 3D printing? Well, it's set to transform the construction industry. Now, the technology is printing buildings as big as 20 feet in each dimension. Now think about that. This is really amazing. Macro 3D printing is still in the infancy stage, and Persistence Market Research says adoption is 10 years away. Macro 3D printing is designed to help solve the housing shortage by printing large structures. And macro 3D printing also minimizes material and labor costs. Many experts say calibration and maintenance of the machines will still need to be ironed out, as well as integration between collaboration platforms, APIs, and overall 3D printing. Still, with the growth of robotics, 3D printers just might be the must-have technology of the future. That's pretty exciting, right? Our final tech trend is software integration. Now, if you think about what we've been doing here at Constructech in our playbook, we've surveyed construction professionals for years. And what's really interesting when we look about it is we've been identifying the adoption trends. 61% of respondents say software interoperability is very important, and 67% have 5 or more separate data applications. This points to a challenge in construction today. Too often, disparate software doesn't speak the same language. That is why standards are so important for construction. We've been working so hard with the construction industry on the Baseline to Build initiative. And I actually interviewed Jeff Farrell, Vice President and CTO of Sweenerton, on my radio show, and here are some of his thoughts on what we have been doing together.
Well, I think that it's, as you say, it's going to be, it has to include the entire gamut of our industry. Sure, it's great if all of the large companies, say this is what they want to do and probably have an amplified voice in that market. But it's the small and probably even more the medium-sized players who really have the most to gain from this. There's a certain amount, whether you're a major subcontractor, like Rosendin, or a major general contractor, where we could maintain the status quo of what we're doing here for quite some time, and we'd be okay with it. But the small and the medium folks, they're the ones who are dealing with many different, I'd say even a greater number of these issues than we are. But ultimately, it has to be something that works for the majority of the players, not just 2 or 3 big folks.
A common data protocol is what is needed to move the industry forward. That's your tech update for today. Today's Sub You Should Know began its business in 1919. Now just think about it. This is when Woodrow Wilson was president and the average house sold for just under $4,000. Moses Rosendin began Rosendin Electric Motor Works, and at that time the company wired homes and shops. Rosendin Electric grew from only 8 employees in the late 1930s to more than 90 employees by the 1950s. At this time, Rosendin Electric was incorporated as an electrical contractor in the state of California. In December of 1992, Rosendin Electric became this employee-owned company. Yep, that means all of the employees have an actual stake in the company, and technology innovation is a huge part of the company's culture. Today, the company has more than 5,000 employees, and some 60 of them are BIM modelers and coordinators. Here to explain all about it, please welcome Sam LaMonica, the company Vice President and CIO of Rosendin Electric. So Sam, welcome again to the show. We're delighted to have you here today.
Thank you, Peggy.
So Sam, let's talk about the combination of technology and people. Is that really what makes Rosendin so special?
Well, I'll tell you, Peggy, I think what makes Rosendin so special, so unique, is a combination of a couple of things. First and foremost, what makes Rosendin unique is our culture. Not only just the history of the company, but our culture and the people who make up the core of our business. We have an amazing culture. We have a very forward-thinking culture, and most of our people are very engaged in technology. If you think about it, our leadership is at the core of our uniqueness and our ability to be willing to merge with technology and leverage technology to make Rosendin Electric a unique company. All the way to the top, our leadership believes in and embraces us staying on the leading edge of technology. And in fact, our motto on our website is staying ahead of the current. And I think we do that not only in the electrical industry, but in the construction industry and with technology as well. I think it's captured in our vision, which is one of our visions is to hire and retain the best and the brightest in the industry. And we do everything every day. Everything we do every day is focused on making sure that we hire and retain the best and the brightest. And along with that comes the willingness to want to use technology.
So Sam, do you think that's because you're an employee, like owned company as an ESOP, that enthusiasm comes out all the way from the top down? Is that what does it?
I think that's part of it, Peggy. It certainly is remarkable to be part of an employee-owned company. You know, Rosendin Electric was established almost 100 years ago in 1919, but we just entered our 25th year as an employee-owned company. In fact, we part of our communications committee, we gave everybody these clever little Rosendin tape measures, which talked about how we measure up as an employee-owned company. But as part of an employee-owned business, everybody has a vested interest in the success of the company, and not only from a customer perspective, but a financial perspective and a technological perspective as well. So everybody buys into the business wholeheartedly, and it's been a remarkable journey with Rosendin Electric.
You and I have talked a lot about staying on top of the technology curve. It's not easy. How do you do that? I mean, when you see technology is changing exponentially, how do you keep above that, keep above the curve?
Well, part of it is we have to embrace it. So it starts with my department and the IT department, but it actually goes all the way up to and through the leadership of the business. Our leadership embraces technology, and they like to believe that we're keeping ourselves on the leading edge of technology. If you think about our customer base, many of our customers are high-tech customers, and so we're influenced by our customers and encouraged by our customers to stay ahead of the curve and stay ahead of the technological curve as well. And if you also think about most of the locations where we're doing business, like here, our headquarters in Silicon Valley, on the East Coast and near the Washington, D.C. area, most of our regional offices are located near technology centers. So it's just kind of in our core.
But subcontractors struggle today, right? When we think about construction, it's not easy being a subcontractor. So you've got to be very creative and innovative to be in business today, right?
Very true. Very true. As you and I have discussed a number of times, sometimes as a subcontractor, we don't always get to pick the technology that we want to use. And that's driven by the general contractors sometimes that are on our work. They will sometimes drive the technology, and sometimes the technology will be driven through the contract or from our owners. And if you think about it, since we do work for most of the high-tech companies, I can't show up at a company that does the major software development up in the Great Northwest with an Apple product per se. So it's a little bit of a challenge to us on a number of different fronts. And add to that the fact that there are so many new emerging technologies in construction that it's difficult for any of us in the construction industry right now to settle on standards.
You're a big believer in collaboration using technologies like BIM. You have a lot of BIM modelers. If you had to look at all of this, Sam, what do you think you got to do to stay competitive in today's technology world? You know, you talk about standards. What do you think you got to do?
Well, I think we need to start at the core and figure out technologically that we can support not only existing technologies, but be able to quickly respond to and leverage the new technologies that are coming out in the business. We are a big BIM shop, and we continue to grow our BIM organization, and we continue to believe in building information modeling to the core. We're seeing a much higher adoption rate with BIM, and we're having a great deal of success with BIM right now. As far as other technologies go, as you know, there's a lot of emerging technologies that are coming to bear in the construction industry. Everything from IoT devices out at the point of construction to virtual reality and augmented reality. And part of a standards effort would have to require us to focus on both ends of the spectrum as we start thinking about how we can collaborate as construction businesses.
Well, Sam, it's great to spend time with you today to talk with someone who cares so much about their employees and technology. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Peggy.
And everyone, there you go. There's the sub you should know. So stick around. We've got more to come. Safety. Safety training is perhaps one of those things that many of us take for granted until it's just too late. But it is one of the most important factors on the construction job site. And it is way too often that professionals experience injury or strain on a construction project. The U.S. Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration defines the construction industry's fatal four. Now let's go through them. Falls, struck by an object, electrocution, and caught in and between. An unsafe working environment leads to injury. It also leads to an unproductive job site. But this is all set to change with the help of technology known as exoskeletons. There is one company in particular that is setting out to improve safety, and this company is called Exobionics, and the product that they have is called ExoWorks. The technology allows workers to complete heavy hand tool tasks quicker and with less strain. You might call it the robotic suit of the future. These exoskeletons help make work weightless. They minimize work injuries. They offer protection against muscle force. They save costs. They make it easier to do a job, and they lower worker fatigue. What's really truly impressive is that devices are designed to reduce the muscle force required for construction. So now let's think about it. If you can reduce as much as 50% of the strain off the worker, you can reduce injuries. So this addresses a major challenge that we're experiencing in construction. So ExoWorks keeps workers on task and on the job sites on budget. It's reducing the stress and strain on the body. So it enables a project to be completed faster and safer. Exoskeletons actually come in all these different forms, which is kind of interesting because they have these tool holding devices. They also have these chairless chairs. They provide all this back support. They have these powered gloves. They have these full-bodied powered suits. And the construction industry will see growth for exoskeletons. And there's a report that has come out from Report Linker that suggests the market will grow as much as 75% by 2021. If you think about it, that's pretty significant growth. So who knows? You might soon be adopting one of these devices to hold maybe your DeWalt or even Milwaukee tools. And as I see it, these Iron Man robotic suits just might alter the construction industry in more ways than one. So that's your innovation in technology for today.
This segment of Got a Tool is brought to you by Bosch.
In 1886, Robert Bosch founded the Workshop for Precision Mechanics and Electrical Engineering. This was the birth of what is now known as Bosch. From the very beginning, the company has been driven by both innovation and social commitment. The company provides everything from household appliances to security systems to power tools. Today, the company has specialized associates who are working on technological breakthroughs in fields such as software development, robotics, and engine management. Today, we will give you an inside look into laser measurement. Please welcome Stephanie Dahl, Product Manager at Bosch. Stephanie, welcome to the show, and tell us what you brought us.
Thank you for having me. And I have our GLM50C. So it's our connected tool that has a large colored screen with large numbers, and it's kind of the first in the market that we've had, making it easier for users to measure with a laser measurer.
So let's talk about a laser tool. Why do construction companies care about a laser tool, and how do they use it?
For the most part, a lot of people use it just to start the estimation process. So think about taking out a tape measure and trying to estimate for the beginning of a job. That can take 2 people or a long time. A laser measure, you can just measure 1 person by yourself, because this can go up to 165 feet. So you don't need somebody else to hold the end of the tape measure.
So what makes this tool, I know laser tools, they've been around for a while, but what makes this tool unique now or different from a lot of the other tools that are out in the market?
Well, the one thing that we have is this click wheel for measuring function. So it actually walks the user through on what different functions. So they're not guessing, or is it an area, is it volume? This actually walks them through what the functions are. And then once you're in there, it actually tells you how to do it. So it walks you through. Here you're going to take the length, then you take the width, and then you have the total. The green kind of says you're done. So it's really making it intuitive and easy to use for the user.
Well, everybody's interested in things being connected. Is there an app to this? Is this a connected tool?
Yes, so we have a free Bosch app. It's free to download, free to use, and it works on Apple and Android platforms and tablets and cell phones. And so with this, you can basically transfer measurements on the job site from your device onto this app.
So how does that work? Basically, can you give us an idea of how that works?
So I'm going to jump into a job that's already been started and a picture that's been taken. And let's say you wanted to measure the height of a wall. You're just going to draw the line where you need it. And then once it's active, your Bluetooth I've already connected my devices. And if I just take a simple measurement, you'll see that it jumps automatically right onto there. So they can overlay these measurements onto a picture and then add notes or comments and then email it back to the office so that somebody else that might need to view it or look at it later has it right there.
Is this available now, or when will this be available?
This particular app will be available on March 13th. We have 2 apps out now that will slowly go into this one, but Measure On will be available March 13th.
Well, Stephanie, we're glad you could join us, and thanks for being here. And tell us again, what is this product called?
This is the Bosch Blaze GLM50C.
All right, well, there you have it. Now we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Got a Tool. Stick around, we've got more to come right here on Constructech TV. Today's construction professional is plagued by an influx of data. We see this both in the office and at the job site. In fact, data is collected at a rate that parallels Moore's Law. In 1965, Gordon Moore said the number of transistors on an integrated circuit doubled roughly every 2 years. Today, his law still impacts technology. The construction industry has entered the era of technology and needs to capture, analyze, and store data faster than ever before. Enter BIM, or Building Information Modeling. Here at Constructech, we have been addressing the BIM opportunities and challenges for years, and it is becoming more prevalent than ever before. That is why advancing BIM education is so important. So what is BIM? BIM is not necessarily a type of technology, even though many vendors like to say that it is. Rather, BIM is a collaborative process of sharing data. It often starts in the office inside a model, and then that data can be shared in various business processes such as scheduling and estimating, and it can even be shared with project managers at the job site and with owners at the end of a project. The challenge is sharing data isn't necessarily an easy task. That is why education is so very critical. Courses can help construction professionals become BIM experts. There are a number of courses to enable greater education on BIM. One example comes from Autodesk. Many of you may know the BIM 360 glue and the BIM 360 field products, which Autodesk acquired from Horizontal Glue and Vela Systems. Now, a tutorial actually walks construction professionals from Revit to BIM 360 glue to BIM 360 field to building operations. This enables data to flow from the model to building operations. In the education session, Brett Naylor does this amazing job of walking the audience through the BIM lifecycle. The class actually covers workflows needed when setting up models. The presentation also looks at some challenges with data flow. He demonstrates workarounds to overcome this. In this session, you will learn how to export to the BIM 360 glue and the BIM 360 field. You'll also learn how to push models and data through building ops for handover. If you'd like to learn more, please visit our website at Constructech.tv. And now for the word of the day, construction. We all know what that word means, or do we? Let's look back to see how construction has evolved. We all need and desire shelter. Our shelters have evolved considerably over time. Building materials from brick, concrete, and even plastic have changed over the years. Even the interior environment of our buildings have evolved to take into consideration the human factor. In the early 20th century, the advancement of elevators and air conditioning made skyscrapers feasible. Cranes, internal combustion engines, heavy equipment, and power tools all contributed to a changing workforce. This all led to the development of improving the human muscle elements and the powerful machinery used on our job sites. Those were the early days of technological advances. The Bureau of Labor Statistics defines a business under its primary activity, and it classifies it under its NAICS, otherwise known as the North American Industry Classification System. Construction falls under NAICS 23. Construction comprises the development of buildings or engineering projects. This includes highways, utility systems. Those engaged in the preparation of sites for new construction or in subdividing land are also included. Now, these are well-defined markets in this classification, and this actually includes low-rise residential buildings, low-rise commercial buildings, institutional, industrial buildings, high-rise buildings, and long-span buildings. Construction work can include new work, additions, alterations, or maintenance and repairs. While cranes and heavy equipment and power tools transformed the construction industry in the early 20th century, new technologies are evolving construction today. And if you think about it, perhaps one of the greatest inventions to change the construction industry and everything that we look at is the personal computer that came into being in the 1980s. It changed how prints are created, how people interact, and how construction projects are managed today. If you think about it and you toss in tablets, smartphones, and laptops, and the world of construction has truly been reinvented. So there you have it, construction. So much has stayed the same, but so much has actually changed. That's your word of the day here at Constructech TV, where we are talking about tech at the job site.